when you now have a migration going at a larger scale, such that the willingness to adopt that higher sense of identity, as you call it, in addition to your own core values, is kind of low right now, or it's getting lower and lower, right? So people are migrating, they may not necessarily be acclimatizing to the culture as it is right now. So we also agree now, because this is what is leading to like a growing sense of anti-immigration sentiments in Europe. Maybe like in Germany, you see like the AFD party starting to gain ground.
Reform Party in the UK.
The Reform Party in the UK, I think they won like 8% or 9% of the votes in the previous election. Nigel Farage and all of that. They used to be outside that before.
Marine Le Pen in France, for example, denied believe in the Great Replacement theory following the Christchurch mosque shootings. That was one of like the biggest shootings in New Zealand, and that brought about like changing gun laws in the country and all that. Because all these ideologies have real life consequences, and for some people who tend to believe in these ideologies, lots of them are just finding commonalities with those ideologies. They are saying that, oh, there is this growing sense that immigrants are taking our jobs. Josh and I were speaking about it, and you didn't agree with it, but I feel it's true. Like the reason why a lot of people are gravitating towards those kinds of ideologies, and they are saying that lots of immigrants are coming in, and when you even check the makeup of those countries, they are still largely white, still largely ethnic, maybe French, German, English, and the immigrant population are still minimal. But they're seeing those other guys come in and succeed. So a lot of them like find it easy to believe in those theories, because the person that formulated that theory, just combine different people's theory together, and he wasn't really affected by lots of all these things. He brought about the theory, and I think was it 2003, 2005, like that far back.
So okay, but I also want to.
So it's more like a conspiracy, just like Illuminati. We all grew up with Illuminati. We believe that our singers, all of them are part of, but many of us subscribe to those thoughts now.
Well, let's leave that.
You subscribe to Illuminati. Wow.
So let's leave that for another discussion, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is this. So there are people that will take whatever theory, whatever proposition to an extreme.
Oh yeah.
Right? So like
very extreme.
Christchurch killings,
Buffalo shootings as well.
Yeah, correct. That's an extreme.
Charlottesville.
That's obviously terribly wrong for someone to go into places of worship, several people, anywhere basically to several people. That's extremely wrong. So, but
my point is that like
the action.
My point is that like it always ends up that way. When you look, the Great Replacement theory. There's a parallel between it and Nazi ideology.
I'm coming. Okay. So right. I understand your point that there's obviously white nationalism and extremism.
White supremacy.
Wonderful. Yes. Part of it. I agree with you. I agree that white supremacists kind of promote these theories.
Yes.
To further whatever form of ill agenda that they have. So, but I'm looking at the data behind the theory itself, right?
Yes.
Look at the Great Replacement theory, for example. One of the core things that it says is that the white population are slowly being replaced by a growing number of immigrant population and all of that. There will be racist undertones behind that.
Oh, huge racist undertones.
True. But when you now look at the data, like I think in the 1950s, about 80%, America was like an 80% white majority country. Fast forward to 2024, they're now like a 60% thereabout white majority. So from the data itself, it shows that, well, you can't argue with data, right? It shows that obviously they are losing the population advantage that they have, and there's always going to be, obviously, when you're saying things like that, it's always going to drive people towards those kind of rhetoric and those kind of theories. So,
one of the things that is driving that is low infertility rates in those major European centers, and even is greater amongst the white population.
Yeah, I agree with you that infertility rates plays a role in it and all that. But in spite of infertility plays a role, yeah, definitely. And then, but it also feels like as the infertility rates or rather as the fertility rates are dropping,
yes,
they are being like kind of now replaced, or kind of like immigrants are now trying to help to fill in the gap for that population they come. And so it may not necessarily be an exact replica or have the racist undertone or the Great Replacement theory, But the data as well is suggesting that whites are actually being replaced.
So what you're saying is like the immigrant population is increasing, obviously.
Yeah, it's increasing.
And then the poor white population,
indigenous population for those places,
there's kind of like a decline.
Is declining, and that's what's now further pushing this, hysteria or paranoia.
I think that is the fact.
You now blame them for what was that?
Oh well, I can always blame people for whatever position they hold, because everybody is responsible for their action, responsible for their belief system.
Right.
And I was watching a video of Jamie Dixon, the chairman of GP Morgan Chase, and he said everybody's responsible for their life. So if you believe in a certain ideology, I can blame you. Why do you believe in it? Like you mentioned the fact about stats about there's a growing immigration population is growing, and then it seems that there's a decline in their own population. There are different reasons for it here. Have we examined the reasons why that is? Why there's a decline in their own population? And there's like similarly an increase in the immigrants population. That has not been addressed. Some countries, they've done things like incentivizing their citizens to give birth to more children.
But what I'm saying is this, like, beyond just fertility rates, it's like even if the fertility was still maintained, the rate
like
of
the number is obviously
rate of immigration is still going to surpass.
So I don't know if I can make comments to that. You see, there's a difference between correlation and causation. I think we all know that. Data is one of those things that can be misrepresented.
Yeah, can suit whoever is speaking about it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to look for an example now. So when people try to give you data, and like since 2020, we've had more people having cancer. I know why. COVID-19 vaccine. You feel me? Now, let's look at that. I mean, we've talked about how people talk about how there is increase in cardiovascular diseases, and how that they're eating so much processed food and all. But oftentimes when we actually look closer to those numbers, this suggests nothing similar to those. Nothing similar to those. It's just that we have better testing. It's just that we have better technology that help us catch the disease at early stage. Usually, you have to wait in stage 4 before you say, "Oh, one cancer." You understand? Sometimes some will have been resolved by themselves magically. Some people complain about NASA budgets. All right, and when you look at it, it's just 0.01% of every 1 cent that go to the other part of the economy. Yeah. That is small. So when you say the white population is declining and the immigrant population is declining, how do we even get this number? How was it sampled? We had a discussion about sampling the other day, how that sometimes when data come out, it does not account for skill in data. If you go to Texas, white population. If you go to Detroit, heavily black population. When you want to take your data, where are you taking it from? If you go to California, a state that has like border that's kind of open, you have a lot of black people there. If you go to some areas, they are like you have so many white people, even you there, you are afraid of for your life. And so there are so many things. What he has said, and I kind of agree with that, is that when it comes to any theory, a lot of them, it appeals to people's sentiment, even with or without data. When people tell you that more black people commit crime in America, we've looked at it. More white people commit crime. And it's not even a bad thing. There's clearly more white population. That's what I'm going to. Like, when you look at the percentage and tell you that, out of like 10,000 black people are, what's it called? Committing crime. I say, oh my God, that's the Lord. And I tell you that, well, there's a million white people committing crime. And you see this clear in data. You can see that because clearly there are more white people in the country. And so, but anybody subscribing to the ideology is not going to care about that. And so you can have data that mean completely different things. America is not the only country faced with low birth rate. Go to Japan, they're faced with low birth rate. They have higher
immigration.
Because, well, they didn't open their borders.
And they haven't thought about, like, the government is thinking about how they can solve it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was suggested was maybe immigration. They decided they didn't want to go that route because that's like their own policy.
Yeah, I even want to make another point. Americans are complaining about immigration. Are they indigenous to the state they are staying to? I said this before. Migration is not new. Even your ancestors were not always here.
Oh yeah,
exactly. So what are we talking about?
So yeah, but
they replaced the indigenous people there.
No, they didn't just replace them, they killed them.
So again, all these sentiments I'm not saying people should not have that. It doesn't make it valid, and it's not even a real problem. Honestly, when you look closer, there's still more. Who are the richest people in USA today? Who owns the most wealth in USA today? Who is likely to succeed in USA today?
Now, yeah, what I'm saying is this: you are talking about the current situation. They are looking at the projected future, right? Talk about the great replacement theory. Remember, they were saying that they are systematically trying to replace the white people, right?
Yeah.
And let's talk about the 1950s that where they were 80%.
I feel like a lot of it is circumstantial.
Now they're not.
That's I say causation. Like correlation is not
So
causation.
the function is this now. The paranoia you're talking about that maybe it doesn't really exist, you're just overthinking it in your mind. They are thinking about it not in the now, but in the future. That they're going to be
Outnumbered
exactly
Right.
in the future.
Right.
And that's the sentiment that is driving it because they're trying to be proactive to kind of stop.
Okay, so like can you tell me some of those things they proposed to kind of curb that? I want to
Yeah, I think one of the things that they are obviously trying to do, number one, to calm down
immigration. Very fantastic.
See,
Let's answer the question.
Sorry,
Okay.
we're seeing it all across Europe already.
Yeah.
There's a growing anti-immigration sentiment because of
Fantastic.
things like this.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. I think if not addressed, this assimilation problem we talked about earlier, and then also the sense of paranoia,
Oh, yeah.
if you want to call it that. If it's not addressed, those sentiments will only keep on growing.
Good.
Right. So yeah, you were talking about like what sentiments.
Yeah, in fact, what I'm even looking at is that remember that even the immigration we're talking about they didn't just pull it out of thin air. Something's led to something that led to something that started pulling that make them make policy in terms of let people come in. All right?
Yeah.
Those concerns are still very much there. So are you saying the citizens saying the current sentiment towards we don't want people supersede whatever reason why they even allow them to come?
So yeah,
I hope they will wait to see it.
Yeah, I think
stopping immigration would not increase the birth rate. They will still have to deal with
yeah,
that.
that's what I said. There's a confluence of factors. Some other things that have been proposed, right, is a clampdown basically on the family planning which has happened systematically.
Yeah, but I don't think these guys are going to suddenly change their mind towards it. Remember, these guys are enlightened people. We're even having a lot more people
estimating the influence of paranoia. They're underestimating the influence of paranoia.
Oh no, paranoia has not caused people to give birth to more children. You can look at
birth rate is always functional.
And again, I feel like there are even more reasons that kind of push people to give birth. I'm going to use the local example. In Nigeria today, as much as we are all afraid from the southern part of Nigeria that we have the northern people has outnumbered us, there is no enlightened person that knows this issue in depth, that is ready to give birth to 10 children, even if they have the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
There is none of them. We have more reason to still churn out more, even though they know they don't have the capacity, because there's something else that is driving it for them. And that is like the kind of ideological work that they have there. The white people you are talking about, we never say, because we don't want them to replace us, let's give birth to more children. They will always take.
I'm not saying it's going to be based on that. I'm saying there's going to be, or rather, the people that are pushing this theory are also trying to clamp down on this narrative of family planning.
Oh, okay. They themselves, are they adopting it though? Are they adopting it? The people pushing it. How many kids do they have?
If you look at those countries, most of the conservatives they usually have like a higher birth rate than the liberals in those countries now. Let's be honest.
Right.
Yeah. So
how many kids does Trump have?
Are you kidding me? Trump has like
multiple.
Yeah.
Is Trump a conservative? I don't even know.
Trump is pandering to people, but that's a different thing. That's another thing with great replacement theory. Something I've observed about all this kind of ideological thing is that oftentimes people that even like push them, they want to use it to achieve a goal.
Oh yeah, it's political.
All right, and most times that goal is not the same with the people that adopt them eventually. Yeah. And that's why you don't see them carry guns to do those shootings. But people that adopt them do that because it's convenient to already what they have in their mind. And they see it and they're like, we can pander to this set of people.
And for their support. And then when they now do certain things in the name of those ideologies, they deny them that no, that is not what we are talking about. But those things are a subset of them.
This, like, there will always be extremists, right?
Yeah.
Some extreme actions. what I'm trying to say is,
No, but
let's
if your ideology is churning out extremists,
Yeah.
it is a problem.
every ideology in the world can
As
have-
but
No, like not just extremists, the extremists that are willing to kill others.
brother, every ideology in the world can turn out extremists. Some may be more likely to do so.
yeah, that's the point.
But,
And it's very
yeah.
important. That one, what you said.
Yeah, some may be more likely to do so.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
every ideology.
But this particular ideology
Yeah, this
has
particular
the highest tendency.
It has a significant
Because like a violence of it resulted in a genocide that killed 20 million people. So what is stopping the same proponents
Oh yeah.
in the nearest future to organize a genocide to kill, let's say, all the Muslim population in their countries? If the politicians keep pushing the narrative,
address the fundamental root cause.
I think we addressed it. Like one of the things I've said is that it's overblown. It does not.
situation is overblown. The situation is not as bad as as politicians are pushing it.
The issue that we are making is that you are trying to delegitimize a concern that's growing already.
Oh,
I'm telling you that you can't keep doing that. That's what they've been doing since the past 2 decades, telling them that you guys are over blowing this.
But I said something. I said something instructive. I said something instructive earlier. What did I say? Those societies need to decide. Now, some countries they've elected right-wing guys.
Yeah.
See, was in Netherlands or so that had the election this year?
Yeah.
Who won? The right-wing guy won.
Yeah.
So they are saying that, oh, this is the path we are choosing. So I feel like that is a way they can sort the situation. Choose the right-wing guys. Me, I don't even care. Like, choose them, elect them.
Yeah.
Stop all immigration. Make everybody finish. Make everybody Dutch. If you go to mosques, no, send you back to do all those things. Yeah,
they should put the policies that they feel can.
Yes. So like I feel like speaking about all these things, creates unnecessary tension.
All right, no problem. I agree with you.